Welcome, and thank you for visiting my video on my 1982 Dodge W150 4-speed for sale. The truck has 121,000 kilometers on the clock, and I thought I would start out by showing as best I can all the things that are wrong with this truck. So that people know what they're getting into. First off is the transfer case. The transfer case works fine, but it slips out of gear. I've solved this problem by simply putting it into two-wheel high and securing the lever with a bungee cord. Seems to work just fine. I've had the transfer case out of the truck, took it to a shop that was unable to fix it, put it back in, and learn to live with it. There are other shops that will specialize in new process transfer cases that I'm sure can fix this thing. It's a new process 208D, as in dog. 4-speed transmission works fine. There's a hole in the dash here installed by the previous owner to accommodate CB radio back in the day. The radio is gone. There's an indicator light up here that shows when the truck is in four-wheel drive. That doesn't work by virtue of the fact that the post on the transfer case that hooks up to the wire rotted away. The seat has a fairly major crack in it right along here. I've disguised it with a seat cover, but if you don't want a seat cover, that crack in the original upholstery will have to be repaired. Another issue that you're going to want to deal with is clutch judder. It's very noticeable at when the transmission is cold. When it warms up, it's fine, but when it's cold, there's a fair amount of clutch judder. You're going to want to deal with clutch and pressure plate at some point. I've just learned to live with it myself, but you probably won't. There is a band of rust along the leading edge of the interior cabin, immediately above the windshield. There are places where the rust is perforated right through the steel. One of the areas that's going to need addressing on this truck is rot in the front right corner of the fender. The fenders are readily available. There's also repair work that's going to need to be done and the bottom of the door. I have replaced the left front fender on the truck, but as you can see, the left door, the corner, needs some work. The doors on the truck are not the same. This door was taken out of an 89 because the original door was too far gone, had to be replaced. You can have a look at the mirror here. If we go and look at the other side, you can see the difference. Also a different kind of mirror on the far door. So the interior panel is different than this door. There was originally a sheet metal strip that went along underneath the front grille. It's missing. I was unable to find a replacement, and I held this part of the grille on with good old cable ties. The box on the truck is not original. It's from a later truck, but it's I undercoated it, rust-proofed it, and put it on here. As we can see here, there is some rot above the left rear tire. There are several imperfections in the paint. I'll show you a few of them. Right here is another one. The rear bumper was painted silver, but it could stand a new coat of paint. Here's some bubbles. The thing to keep in mind about this truck is the paint is not great. It is going to require repainting in several places. The reason for that is that I painted this truck myself and am not a professional painter. There is some rot in the interior inside the section I showed you earlier in the rear of the right front fender. So let's talk about the good stuff. The truck has 4 brand new Yokohama Geolandar off-road tires, 335/15. The truck has an aftermarket steering wheel because in order to pass a mechanical fitness inspection, the horn has to work. And the horn push on the original equipment steering wheel had 3 plastic tabs that held it in place. 2 of them broke off and replacement was unobtainable. So, aftermarket steering wheel. The vinyl flooring has been replaced. New trim strips here, new floor mats, refurbished chrome trim around the transfer case boot. And a nice new seat cover. The truck also has some nice chrome DZ steps on each side. The grille is relatively new, as are the headlights. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we get to the best part, what's under the hood. I give you the one, the only, the indestructible, the leaning tower of power, the Dodge 225 Slant 6. Yes, friends, the best motor Chrysler ever made. And this one even more so because I have heavily breathed on this thing. I took it apart and rebuilt it and hot rodded it. So, we've got electronic ignition in here, control module on the firewall, the radiator is an uprated Dodge radiator for this truck, beefier and better capacity than the original. We have an Offenhauser intake manifold. The headers are Australian. Very difficult to find headers for this truck that fit within the frame rails. But nobody knows more about hot rodding a Slant 6 than the Australians. Dodge sent tens of thousands of those engines over there starting in 1960, and the Australians immediately figured out how to soup them up and make them put out 3 or 4 times more power than they were ever designed to produce. If you want a good laugh some afternoon, go on YouTube and watch a 1960 Valiant smoke a Super Bee on a drag strip in Australia. It's hysterical. They will turbocharge these things, supercharge them. I've seen one with a supercharger and a turbocharger, and the bottom end is stock. You know, the thing is putting out 350, 400 horsepower, and the bottom end of this motor is tough enough to take it. Truly remarkable. So, the engine has been souped up. The head was shaved, 100 thou. That's right, 1/10 of an inch. Racing head gasket, heavy-duty sodium-filled valves, racing valve springs, a Clifford camshaft, and there's a Holley red electric fuel pump mounted on the frame rails. Originally, this truck in 1982 it was the first year of Dodge's lean burn system, which was a computerized affair that controlled the mixture, and the computer was mounted underneath the air cleaner canister. It worked okay from the factory, but as soon as it broke, nobody knew how to fix it. So all that stuff has been discarded, and the thing turned into a hot rod. The engine block was finished in Chrysler Hemi Orange Pour 15 paint, done according to instructions with all the proper preparation. The engine still looks really quite good. The brackets that hold the power steering pump and the fan have been powder coated. The fan in this is not a stock fan. The stock fan is 4 blades. This is a 7-blade fan out of an air-conditioned Valiant, so it pumps a lot more air. Brake booster I just rebuilt. New diaphragm, works a treat. And the truck comes with a nice, powerful interstate battery. The exhaust system is 6-into-2. These 2 pipes down here go to a crossover pipe about halfway back the chassis, and the crossover pipe empties into 2, what else, cherry bombs. The carburetor is a Holley 6299 4-barrel, 450 CFM, and connected to an adapter plate which fits on top of the Offenhauser intake manifold. Chrysler engineers did a lot of fooling around with this particular combination and came up with a combination of springs and jets that they recommended. That's published. So I sent this thing away to a guy down south who rebuilt it to Chrysler specifications, and it works like a charm. One of the other things that I've done is installed a heater underneath the riser. Because the original heat stove is now gone. So this routes warm water from the radiator to a compartment underneath the carburetor, helps warm up the carburetor, and brings the whole affair up to temperature much faster than it would otherwise. People have asked how much power does this thing put out now that all the small gear has been thrown away and the engine has been hot rodded. The short answer to that question is I don't know. When this truck was new, the day it rolled off the assembly line, it put out maybe 100 horsepower. My suspicion right now, with the exhaust freed up, the 4-barrel, the cam, the higher compression ratio, is that it probably puts out about 200 horsepower. Now, I can't verify that. I don't have a dynamometer, don't know anybody who does. But I got a $40 bill in my back pocket that says that if somebody wanted to really seriously tune that carburetor and play with the timing, that there's another 25 or 30 horsepower in there waiting to be found. I just haven't done it. So we should start this thing up. This is a cold start. The truck has a pair of Skyjacker off-road shocks in the front, plus a steering stabilizer shock. And I've also replaced the steering shaft on these trucks when they were new, down at the bottom where the steering shaft attaches to the box. There was an awful contraption down there that wore out and put a lot of slop in the steering. This particular steering rod is an improved modern replacement. These turbine wheels are period correct and extremely hard to find anymore. I did manage to find a set of 4, and they work great. The wheels have 4 new center caps and new lug nuts. Thanks very much for taking a look at this video. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments section below or at the auction website. Thanks. Bye.